end goal with most of our learners is that they can learn from a group environment like a classroom or a community group. Let's face it, one-to-one ABA is awesome, but it's really not realistic forever and ever. We really want our learners to start paying attention and responding and learning in group situations. Therefore, at some point, we need to practice some whole group instruction. So how do we do this? And what's the best way to initiate and facilitate whole group instruction?
Hi, I'm Shira.
And I'm Shayna.
We're behavior analysts who create weekly content about how to teach kids with autism so that they make real progress. And we create shareable resources to make your job just a little easier. Today's topic is all about whole group instruction. And if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on new video releases.
When I think about whole group instruction, I also think about choral responding because that is a large part about a group. And, I've been into watching baking shows and cooking shows lately with my daughter. And in a few of these shows, everybody in unison responds, "Yes, chef." And I think they do that really just to make sure that everybody is listening and understanding the instruction.
So what really is whole group instruction? It's when, we have two or more learners who are learning the same targets in a group together. So if you think of any classroom or any kind of small group instruction, you want everybody to participate in that group together. So whole group responding is when two or more of those learners would be responding at the same time, often referred to also as choral responding. So we think about this often we learn when we do like a direct instruction small group. It doesn't have to be that. It could just be everybody responding good morning or, greeting the teacher, and we do that all together. The benefit of choral responding is that all learners are able to hear what other students are saying and somewhat stay on the same page by imitating. It gives them a good model so that they don't have to know the correct answer. We're kind of all doing it together, and it feels a lot more supportive and a little bit more errorless.
I think about circle time, for instance, and if a teacher has a group of students who are participating in, say, group calendar, and everybody has to name the days of the week together, and they're doing it in unison. Maybe they're singing the days of the week song or the months of the year, whatever they're doing. It's giving them, first of all, it's giving them engagement, but not only that, it's also giving them more opportunities to respond. Because if the teacher were to say, okay, kid one, what day is this? Kid two, what day is this? Kid three. Well, when you're on to kid five or kid 20, kid one is like, I've already responded. I can just pick my nose. This is great. But if you're constantly making the group respond together, you're promoting engagement and you're giving them more opportunities.
Yeah, and we know that a lot of our learners can learn in one-to-one, and we do that. But the next best place for them to start learning is going to be in a small group, especially for some of our younger learners who are going to be entering school. A lot of our learners do really well in a one-to-one setting and they're able to learn, but it's really important that we then move them into being able to learn in a small group, especially for younger kids who are entering school. It's going to be their greatest benefit to be able to attend and respond and learn in a group. So the one that we most often start putting our one-to-one learners into is one that contains a lot of this kind of responding. It's songs, it's things that are repetitive, it's things that they can do all together as a group, because that part is easy. We want to focus on the attending, on all those other learning behaviors around sitting and learning in a group.
But it's interesting, you say it's easy, yet there's a lot of students who go through one-to-one instruction and think that they're not supposed to talk if someone else is talking, or they're not supposed to talk unless they've been asked a question. So we need to make sure that they understand that they're supposed to say things in unison. So sometimes that actually needs to be taught. And it's like, okay, we're going to say this together. Let's practice. On your mark, get set, go. Let's say this together. Because sometimes that doesn't happen and they don't think it's natural, because why would they talk if someone else is talking? They were never taught that.
Yeah, so I love that you said that, because I think when we are transitioning our kids into a group, it's important to make those expectations clear. When I would run group sessions or do this kind of group responding, I would start by telling them all the expectations of the group. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what the rules of the group are. Here's what you need to expect. And then we might even do some practice. Like, this is what it means to respond. Let's just practice before we start. I would invite some kids who were better at it or may have done it before, that they could be the models for some of the ones who are just learning this new skill. So there's so many ways that you could set these up for success, but really making those expectations clear is really important.
Yeah, we really want to make sure that the kids understand what they're supposed to be doing. And, the worst part about it is if you're in a group and you feel lost or you think that everybody else knows what's going on and you don't, that can be really overwhelming. It can really turn you off of a group. So I love sure that you said set those expectations up right from the beginning. If you look at a mainstream classroom, they often put, junior kindergarten kids with senior kindergarten kids because the SKers, the big SKers can show the little people what to do in terms of, here's what the teacher expected us to do last year. So we'll show you the ropes. And that really helps.
The other thing that I usually set up is something like a group contingency. So if we're doing something as a group, then we may have a contingency, which is like a reinforcement system that the whole group is working towards. So by the end of the group, we might do something fun based on, certain levels of responding or everyone's participation or staying with the group, things like that. They'll all contribute to the whole group getting to do something fun after. And you could read more about that on our blog on group contingencies.
So sometimes when people talk about choral responding, one of the main complaints that I hear from some people is that, well, if you get the whole group to respond, sometimes only the more advanced learners are the ones who know how to do it respond. Well, we just answered that question. You can teach the other kids. But sometimes it's because, the ones who don't know it stay silent or they just copy and we really don't know if they know the question. So after some choral responding, you can follow up and you can say, Shira, what did they say? Just to make sure that they've said it as well.
So let's talk more about like specifically those direct instruction programs that we like to do in a group, like Language for Learning.
So check out episode 152 on our direct instruction programs. We've got a whole blog about it. But going back to the Language for Learning, I absolutely love direct instruction. I was a direct instruction teacher for probably about 8 years, and it was fabulous. It was just really effective, and I just saw it work. The results are incredible if you're doing it and using the curriculum properly. But with Language for Learning specifically, they really work on, choral responding, filling in blanks to things, and using hand signals and all that kind of thing. So how it works is, the teacher is showing small groups and pictures, and really, they might have a fill in the blank, but they're going to have a hand signal. So it might just be your hand is up. And when my hand is up, it means I'm talking. When I point to you, it's your turn to talk. So it's really just that quick signal. Sometimes it's a point, sometimes it's a snap, sometimes it's a tap on the table. It can be anything, but really it's okay. So my hand is up, it signals for you to not talk. And then I'm going to give you a little bit of think time. So those kids who need some extra time to process, that helps with the think time. So I might ask the question like, okay, everybody stand up. What am I doing? And I wait for a second and then I point and they should say standing up. But it's giving that think time as well really helps.
So Language for Learning is a great example of a direct instruction group where the content is what you're teaching, and we're going to be taking data on their participation or their level of understanding and responding on that content. I also love to run whole group instruction where the learning goals might not be the content, and you might be doing like a craft activity or sensory activity, and you're not taking data on their ability to do the craft, but you might be looking at their ability to sit with a peer or ask for items or attend in a group or any one of those kind of hidden skills that make them be successful to learn in a group. So those are two very different ways to approach whole group instruction. One is that they're actually learning the content in that group, and you're going to be looking at the data of that content. And another one is also running groups where you're just looking at, their participation. The content doesn't matter as much, but you're getting them used to sitting in a group, raising their hand, following instructions in a group. You might start that with only 2 students and then work your way up to whatever group you want them to be able to work in. And then eventually the goal is that they're able to learn content in a group as well.
I think the key message is keeping it as light as possible at the beginning and keeping it fun and trying to keep their interests high, bringing in something that they're interested in into the group instruction so that they're motivated to stay there.
For more information on whole group instruction, click the link on or around this video or in the description to claim your free group data sheet. We also encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and leave a like and comment below if you have further questions.